Well, hello everybody for a very special edition of Skipping Lunch After Dark. I am keeping the name no matter what time it is because I'm me and I'm bored. But this is a really special episode for me because this is someone that I was introduced to at PAX Unplugged, like literally like 2 weekends ago. And just had an awesome time. We connected, and here we are right in chat. And I am here tonight with the one, the only Al Spader, who you might know as one of the writers for Star Trek Adventures, particularly in second edition. And someone's already shouting "Khan" in the
I
chat. King
doesn't
Eric,
doesn't take long.
it never takes long. But Eric, you have to do it with like eight renditions of it, and then show yourself zooming out of Epsilon. Gosh, what planet? Regula 6, Regula 3. Yeah, so awesome. So it's great to have you on tonight. Thank you so much for coming and for making sure that we stay connected after PAX Unplugged. Had an awesome time chatting at the Gamma Expo reception on Saturday night, which was so much fun. And shout out to Doug Shute for making sure that I got my invite to it. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's Merlin. Pages Musings. He was involved in a tournament all day, so I did not bump into him. And he's like, I want you to take a picture with the puppet.
So
Um,
here's the thing, Wes. I was in that same tournament. I just lost and was able to leave early. He had to stay late because he kept winning.
you see, listen, Mage, there you go, man. You were there the whole time. Mage, I'm so sorry. I wanted so bad to bump into you with it, and I was running around so much. Oh, we got a lot of people in here. We got Grimwood Games. Dave, you need to meet Al. He's very important. And here's Shadowmane. Is the live stream on the edge of forever? Sure. We're gonna have
Hi,
a
Jay.
tragic ending. Jay is awesome. All right, let's get to some talking here. So and I warned you about this. So for folks who maybe not be familiar with your body of work or with you as a person, because you're a really interesting guy. Um, I always like to ask people because, and I like to put the caveat: this is a very strange and weird hobby. That invites strange and weird and wonderful people into it. And you are professionally involved with it, but just puts you on a different level of the weirdness, which I think is awesome. So, what first drew you into this awesome hobby?
So, I mean, I've played Dungeons and Dragons since high school, played through college. And then like after college played for a bit and stopped. And then made my first trip to Gen Con, and it also happened to be the same year that they were premiering 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. And it was
Okay,
kind of like once you think you're out, they suck you back in.
it's
Um,
Godfather, man. Here you are.
and so I got into the Adventures League for Dungeons and Dragons, and after a few years of that, they opened up a community program where you could write content for conventions, and
Oh, okay.
I started doing that just for fun because I knew I was running a lot of games at conventions, and it's fun to run games that I wrote. And so that was kind of like where I realized, man, I can actually write, like I can actually do this.
Okay.
And then COVID hit, and my friends didn't want to play D&D anymore, but they're like, let's try some other games. So we
Okay, cool.
started playing some Star Trek Adventures, and yeah, the rest is history. I met Jim Johnson on a panel, and we hit it off, and he asked me if I wanted to write for him.
That's awesome. I keep hearing buzzing, so I'm gonna turn on my do not disturb, which I should have done before, but we were too busy talking.
Uh,
So, yes,
yeah.
sir.
Sean Ballantyne points out that I did get a picture with the puppet, but we were in the
I
same
have,
location at the same time at that point. So
yeah, I'll put that up there so you can. Yes, I am jealous. Where did you put that? There, go to my post page. You'll see that Al got a picture with the puppet. I think it looks like everybody got a picture with the puppet, but me, Mage. So thanks, Sean. I love we have a really fun group of folks who always are on the stream. So I'm
love it.
glad that you know some already, but also that you can meet some of the other cool folks who are
Yeah,
here. So here you are. You got out of you escaped the clutches of 5e.
I did.
Um, and if you ever want to see some of your thoughts on writing for other games in 5e, Shadowmane has a really good interview of you up, which is really kind of fun. Um, but here's the thing. So you've now written for a couple of different types of mechanics. When you are sitting down to play a game, you have your choice. What do you lean to? You want more of a roll under or a roll over mechanic?
Um, so I don't think I care so much about the roll under or roll over. Like I'm fine with both. What I really look for is like a partial success type mechanic.
Oh,
Yes, you got it, but not quite. Things like that, like Blades in the Dark and Powered by the Apocalypse. You can get success, and to a certain degree, the 2D20 system does that too with success at a cost, right? So like
mhm.
I really like to see that because it keeps the story moving forward. One of the things that is
Yeah,
really annoying is when you have a group of 5 players playing Dungeons and Dragons and all of them fail their rolls to get through the locked door, right?
that is the cliche because it's true.
It's
It
just
is
hard.
totally true.
Yeah, like hard to keep a story going at that point, right? So these newer systems that have these partial successes or success at a cost, I think, is really where I want to live when I'm playing a role playing game.
Gotcha. I'm gonna change our layout a little bit so that I don't cover your face when people put their comments up.
No, that's fine, whatever.
That just didn't seem fair,
I'll lean back
especially
so
when
it's not
King
as
Arts me
intimate
that.
on me. How about that?
That's
That
always
looks
good.
casual. Here we go.
There we go. Just be casual. Keep it casual. Cool. So fail forward is a really important thing, or a yes and or a yes but, just to
Mhm.
keep the thing flowing. Because that locked door is I've been there. It's not fun. Um, but when you run a lot of games, let's go to the other thing. When you are playing a PC, do you have a favorite type of character you like to play, whether it's a class or personality or an archetype?
Hmm. Oh, that's tough. So I really like to play um characters that have like maybe a secret that they don't know in their past that the GM could pull out and throw at me at some point in time to connect me with the
Okay.
story. Because I feel like, I when I'm playing a character, I have a concept of who I want to be, but I'm always trying to grow that vision of that character.
Okay.
So for an example, I was playing a Star Trek Adventures campaign for 5 years with Michael Dismuke, who's another writer, and I had been making up this backstory about how I had a younger brother who I was really jealous of because he was like a genius and all this type
Okay.
of stuff. And then in one episode, my character disappeared in time. Like he just blipped out, right? And we actually took 8 episodes of my character being gone. And then my game master said, "All right, well now you get to play as your brother.
Really?
And now you need to tell your story through your brother's point of view." And you start learning things about the character that went missing through his
Through
brother's
his
eyes.
brother's eyes. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was
How did how did you play it? Did you play it as a secondary character, or did you give it a full sheet? Or
so I knew that it was a temporary thing. Nobody else in the group knew.
so you gave it a full sheet for
So
the
I gave it a full sheet. I played it as though it was my main character and my other character was dead. And that was like when he came back at the final episode of the season. Um, oh, Michael Dismuke's here. There's my GM right there.
I
Um, and so when my character finally came back in the season finale, it was like an Avengers moment. Like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, he's alive!" Right?
oh, that's awesome.
But yeah. So like getting to explore that character through his brother's eyes, I get to write different parts of the story that maybe weren't told initially, and that was really really fun to do.
That's awesome, and from a different perspective. So, like, maybe the genius brother is not the jerk.
Right. Right.
Um, oh, that's really cool. Now I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That's a really good twist.
That was it was a fun campaign, and then and Desmond, of course, when he shows up, he had been missing for 5 years, or for the ship, only a couple months had gone by, but for Desmond, he had been missing for 5 years.
Ooh, got a little time dilation going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very good.
So he when he came back, he had a wife, he had a kid, and like, it was a total and
How'd you
the,
bring him back? Like, did he step through a portal, or was he just like living
uh
5 years in the
yeah,
past?
basically
Or
he a Romulan crashed on an island on a planet after going through a portal, and they basically had to survive on that island.
oh
And
wow,
time moved differently on that planet. Well, they met up with some of the locals on that planet who are like, "Oh yeah, we see portals like this all the time." And like, so eventually he befriended those locals, and the locals
okay,
took him to a portal that got him back. And essentially, he was a pilot of the ship, so he was the helmsman. And when he stepped out of the portal, he saw the shuttle that he flew all the time, and was like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna hop in there and go try to find where my crew is." And it turns out they were fighting a big bad guy. So as they were fighting the big bad guy, I come in, send the message, "Captain, it's Desmond. Do you need my help?" And they freaked out.
oh that's awesome. Did you play two characters then that session?
Yeah, so that session, yeah, my brother was on, the starship, while I was planet side, and, yeah, it was awesome.
I love everything about that. I could talk about that all night. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, let me get through my questions before I get
Okay,
sidetracked. And Jason, I saw your question about sentience. We'll get to that a little bit later because I do ask it. And Mage, I see that you have a question too. But so this is one of my fun ones. There are 5 seats set up at a table. One of them is clearly set up for a GM, and you are sitting there with 4 other people, and you know every one of them is a good GM with a lot of experience. Which chair are you going for? You going for the GM screen or one of the PC chairs?
so I am gonna go so I think I would always want to run a game. I think I'm a forever GM, but I think I prefer it that way, um, because I I really take a lot of pride in seeing other people laugh and get joy. And if I can help them get that joy in their life, even if it's just for 3 hours, I think that like that for me is really fulfilling. I try to be a people pleaser whenever possible, but like,
Okay.
you know, um, if I was going to play a character, I would sit as far away from the GM as possible so that I don't get like the urge to try to help the GM.
The problem of having a table full of GMs, like, well, actually, that rule is shh, be quiet. So GM, GM, GM. Yes, I love that answer, man.
Just so you know, Scribe and Eddie is the project manager and line editor for Star Trek Adventures. He's the one that brought me
Aw,
on.
thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks so much. Um, people, I scribe Jeanette. I keep clicking off comments and other ones pop up so they come up underneath it. This is a good problem to have.
Right.
Thank you everybody for being here. All right, here's Mage's Merlings. You will feel joy under penalty of pain. This is not an OSR style game, but that's okay. Now here's the one that will get you in trouble. This is the one that will get people angry at you. Who is your favorite Star Trek captain?
All right. So I've had a lot of time to think about this, and we talk about it all the time on other podcasts as well. So I would say in season 1 of Strange New Worlds, Pike was really growing on me. He's kind of like they haven't focused on him as much, so I'm kind of
Yeah,
like losing interest. Um, I do think, and this is gonna be really hard for some people to take. Um, I think Archer is my favorite captain, and here's why.
really.
Here's why:
Okay.
desperation, knowing
Yeah,
that he is the only one that could save planet Earth.
the whole
Yeah,
Zimby expanse.
it
Okay.
pushed him to do some stuff that was questionable. It pushed him to do things that were unethical, but in the end, he did it to save his people, and I think making that type of sacrifice to save your people is really bold. And I do think that he became a really great leader, right? I mean, all of his the people on the ship eventually grew into these great leaders by the end of season 4.
Yeah, they did get there. I One of the things I liked about Archer's arc was after the season one. when the sister ship was getting ready to launch, and you could see like that wide-eyed, we're humans going out and we're taking over things. He's like, you need to upgrade your weapons because you're gonna die.
Right. It's
Um,
true, right? Like, it was unfortunate, but it was true, and, like, he was the one that would always, like, say that, like, he would say that "This is what we need to do in order to survive on a
yeah.
galactic scale."
So, and he's grown on me over the year. I like Cisco for a lot of the same reason.
Mhm.
One of the reasons why I like Cisco so much is his level of doubt, and that's the whole episode, which to me will always be the greatest Star Trek episode ever. Was is Far Beyond the Stars,
Mhm.
which is just dealing with his doubt. Like he's
Yep.
gonna keep doing it, but he's not sure if he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that that type of character development doesn't happen much anymore. I think that because of binge TV, right? You don't get 24 episodes to really smooth out a character like that.
Yeah,
Let alone a dozen characters, which Deep Space Nine is my favorite, Star Trek series ever,
so
right?
good.
So
Yeah.
like, but like, you really see character development among 12 major character, right? In that show. And it's like, you just can't physically do that anymore with 10 episode seasons. You know what I mean?
Well, especially when you have, and that's what killed Discovery was the fact that we're going to just have one plot through the entire thing, and then you end up with like season two, which is all padding,
Right.
um, which was a shame because by the end of Discovery, I didn't know who any of the bridge crew members were.
I think that that's one of the biggest complaints about the series, right? Is
Yeah,
that it was basically three main characters and everything else was background characters. They weren't
yeah,
even supporting characters. They were background characters.
yeah, and it was like in the season, I guess it was the last season where they went beyond the galactic rim.
Mm.
They literally beamed them all into the conference room, which they had never done, just to like remind you that they were on the show, and it was
Right.
so weird.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that was a shame. But Lower Decks did it. They had characters that developed that you cared about.
With 24-minute episodes. Now, granted, watching an episode with that was like watching something on fast forward, right? The scenes are like super crisp,
Bing, 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 bing,
super
bing, bing,
fast.
bing.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how many, like, there's probably not many scenes that are longer than a minute, minute and a half in that
no, not
entire
really.
series. You know what I mean? So, whereas, you know, uh, Deep Space Nine would like, they would not shy away from a 5-minute monologue. You know what I mean?
Not
Like,
at all. Yeah, they would go right into it. It's great. But I love the Archer thing. Um, King Eric asked Deep Space Nine or Babylon 5. I now have an issue with Sean by his response. What are you going with? Deep
I have
Space
never
Nine
watched Babylon 5, so what do you think about that?
I am extremely disappointed in you.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that never made it to the top of my list, and now that I'm a parent of twin boys, it's very hard to me for me to get any TV time at all.
I understand. It's on Tubi for free, especially because we're basically living through seasons 1 through 3 right now. It's a good thing to watch.
I believe it.
Um, and Sean, no, 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 no. Babylon 5 is probably the greatest science fiction show that's ever been on television. So I had to, and I love my Star Trek. I love it. And Babylon 5 is campy and the production was low,
Well,
but oh,
I mean, I love Star Trek. I love
yeah,
Star Trek, but really what I my in my heart, one of my favorite sci-fi is Stargate. Um, like, I love campy. You know what I mean? Like,
that is the right form of camp
you
right
know what I
there.
mean? Like,
I'll defend B5 to my dying breath, but both shows are great. Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek. Give me Babylon 5 and start. Give me all the Stargate. It's good. Okay, we're totally off the track.
it's fine. It's fine.
I do this I do this with Glenn Finney from RPGs against Alzheimer's disease because we're both Babylon 5 fans and we'll like get off threads like talking about character arcs for like 20 minutes.
That's great.
So let's talk about a little bit about you besides getting to know you because you are a freelance writer. So and folks who are watching this channel are probably more familiar or most familiar with your TTRPG work than anything. Setting aside Star Trek, which I can't understand looking at your image right now, why anyone think you would have anything to do with that. What are some other projects that folks can find your name attached to?
Well, we just announced that my first foray into Achtung Cthulhu was
Ooh,
announced in the Norway project. That is available now for pre-order on the Modiphius sites, and you get the PDF for free when you do that. I
okay.
think that it should be in the US in January or so. So that was really cool. And after I turned that in, I was asked back to do another much larger thing for Octung Cthulhu. So that's been turned in.
Oh,
That'll
cool.
probably be the end of next year, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And so really Star Trek and Octung are my only two freelance gigs that are currently ongoing.
Okay.
I did write an adventure for the Stargate role playing game for their living campaign, but of course that all collapsed and died and disappeared, and nobody truly knows what happened.
Eesh.
So I got paid for it, but I'll never get credit for it because it never released. So
Man, a Stargate RPG would have been awesome too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it
Uh,
was 5e basically, like it was a 5e game.
was it like a
Um,
D20 modern with
Yeah,
sci-fi
it was
elements?
essentially 5e D20 modern if you think about it like that. Yeah, very
Okay.
similar. You basically went to level 5 and then you like there were no levels. Well, you level past that, but no like classes. You could just build your own class with all sorts of abilities
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff.
So it's basically like, here, get a feat. You're a feat. Here a feat.
Yeah.
Everywhere a feat feat.
I think it would be awesome if you took Octung Cthulhu rules, and Star Trek Adventures rules, merge them together to make a Stargate rule set. I think that would be spectacular. Um,
Okay, I got to ask you, what would you be merging? I'm not familiar with Acton Cthulhu all that much. So, like, what are
So,
you pulling in?
so Achtung Cthulhu has the weapons, and they have like ammunition, and they have they kept the D6, the proprietary
Uh
D6s
huh.
that
Uh
Star
huh.
Trek Adventures got rid of. So I think just the military aspects and like the military vehicles, the way the vehicle rules work for Achtung, I think would adapt to Stargate quite easily.
Okay.
And that's the stuff that I would take from there, and then I would bring all the sci-fi stuff in from Star Trek. You
Yeah,
know,
departments would be really good because that's how you get Carter.
yeah, right, right.
Oh, I like that.
I would keep departments for sure, and then I would probably bring in, the attributes from Octung Cthulhu and use those as combinations, for the target numbers.
So, for anybody from Modiphius who's listening, there's a new licensing opportunity for you. They just did announce a new show coming out soon.
I
So,
know, I know, I know.
he's already got the mechanics figured out. Let's go. I'll play test that. So you are a freelancer. What are some of the upsides of being a freelance writer?
Well, I mean, when you're with the right company and people you can trust and whatnot, you can get paid for your work. The other thing is like your name is put on that work. So if you search my name out on Drive Through RPG, the Star Trek stuff pops up, which is kind of cool. So like that those are the two big things. I would encourage people to do research first because there are several companies out there who asked me to do some stuff, but through research, I learned that they were not good at paying their freelancers. Um,
Uh-huh.
and your work is worth something. So like make sure that like if you are, especially if it's a company that's known and on the market and whatnot, like your time and your brain is worth something. So make sure you're getting paid for that work. Um, if you're trying to do a startup on your own and you don't get paid for the first couple of books that you make, like
Mm-hmm.
that's different, right? That's a startup on your own indie stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at for it. Luckily, Jim Johnson has been spectacular with Star Trek Adventures. Like he always gets me the word count he can, and he always makes sure that I get paid for all the work that I do, even if it's stuff that has to get cut. He's really good for that, and
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, so Modifius as a company, as far as that goes, like if you freelance for them, they take care of you,
Okay.
which is good. So,
Awesome.
yep.
And they're I mean, we're not going to name any names, but
No.
I know a couple that are not, they're not
No.
known for being very good at paying people.
Right.
Um, and then what's the biggest downside?
I mean, so you have to hit your word targets and you have to hit your due dates, right? If
Okay.
you're someone who rambles in in your writing, like, and you are 1,000 words over your count, like, you're not going to get asked back, right? Because that's extra work for your line
Hmm.
editor to go through. Jim's saying thanks. Yeah, Jim. So
I'm
like,
putting that up.
so like, if you are coming in, and you need a lot of editing, right, as well, you might not get asked back, right? Because you don't want your project manager or your line editor to have to spend extra time on your work.
Like you have
So
to have that attention to detail
yes,
to get that
yes.
done.
Yep. So I always say, like, get your work done well, hit your word counts. I try to be within 5 to 10 words of my word count every single
Okay.
time, and sometimes that's really painful, to cut things, but, like, it's better that I'm doing it on my time than having, Jim, who's managing 12 writers, on 3 different projects, having to do that type of stuff. So that's the biggest thing is, like, and you have a due date, right? Like, if they say we need 10,000 words from you by the end of November, you better have that 10,000 words by the end of November, right?
Right. Because you're
Otherwise,
putting the whole production off.
you're
Right.
not coming back, right? And then, um, I try to always be available at the end of a project, because if people can't fulfill what they said they could fulfill, I always offer Jim to take some of that load, because I know I can get it done fairly quickly and fairly well. Um, so yeah, so I think being a freelancer, it's a job. Like, it's a job. Don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
of it
Yeah.
as
You're not
just
sitting around playing video games all day.
right, right. You have a commitment. You have to honor that commitment, and the way you honor that commitment has to be good and has to be, on time.
Gotcha. I want to, and we're going to talk a little bit about the writing for Star Trek in a second. For folks who are hoping to maybe break into the industry, is this their actual job to start doing some freelancing or stuff? What are some tidbits of advice you can pass on to them?
Have a portfolio of stuff that you've done for community content. That's the first thing. Like, I would recommend, like, there are every company on the planet is doing community content stuff on Drive Through RPG. Write something, do it, show that you can produce quality work.
Okay.
Um, I think that's the first thing that's really, really important. Um, and I think that, like, Michael Dismuke always says, always keep writing. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, keep putting your stuff out there, and eventually you will get noticed. So there are, like, plenty of sites. Like, there's a website, called, Continuing Mission STA, that is basically all this player created content.
Okay.
And so, like, having stuff up on that site and sharing that stuff out with the community will get you noticed. It will.
Gotcha.
So that's a big thing. Also, like, when you are putting stuff online, try to make sure it's always in a positive light, for yourself, for other companies. Like, like, uh, Wizards of the Coast has pissed me off in the past, right? But I have not, like, put that out there on, social media, on I've not done videos taking down Wizards of the Coast, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, don't be burning a whole lot of bridges. Yes.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
And so, because people will go and search your name, and if they
Hmm.
see that you're negative about to all these different communities about something, like, why am I going to want to hire you if I have to wonder if you're going to be positive about the community, you know what I
Well, yeah,
mean?
then you're just a headache.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So basically be a decent human being. That's one. But for the putting the community content on, for a lot of folks, it's you got to kind of be willing to conquer the imposter syndrome a little bit.
Mhm.
And That's kind of an important thing.
Yeah, and if it's not something that you want to put up for sale or anything like that, or you're worried that you don't have art or anything like that, look to the communities, because the communities have databases where they share out content. Like, I know that Shadowrun does it. I know that, like, all these different games, they have community content areas outside of Drive Through RPG where you can just put something up. Hey, here's a character class that I made. Hey, here's a new starship that I made. Hey,
Uh-huh.
those type of things, you know?
Just little tidbits. Get out, let people know that you're doing stuff that's just really a positive quality, a little bit out the box. Good stuff. Thank you.
And
That really good
and don't
advice.
be afraid to introduce yourself to people at different companies, right? And show interest in other companies that you might be interested in writing for, right? Hey, I
Mhm.
really like your game. So, like, when Jim Johnson first came to me, the first project that he gave me was he wanted me as a D&D player, because I was just coming into the game from D&D. He
Right.
wanted me to look at the Shackleton Expanse book and see what I thought, as someone that was new coming into the game, right? That has written stuff in the past for D&D, but
But
how
could
did
you
I
follow?
yeah,
Gotcha.
could I follow it? Now, there are 2 ways that you can respond to that. You can say, "Oh, yeah, this is all great. Awesome." And then, you know, but I was a little critical on, like, 2 or 3 things, and I said, "Hey, I
Mhm.
didn't understand this. This I don't think works," right? And I sent that off to Jim, and, because I wanted to be honest, have an
Yeah.
honest conversation with him, and I think 2 of the 3 recommendations that I said to him were actually changed in the book. Like,
That's
I didn't get
yeah.
a writer's credit. There's a special thanks, actually. Me and Michael Dismuke have a special thanks right above Gene Roddenberry in that book, which is spectacular.
You
Um,
went above Gene Roddenberry, even that's you can call it a career at that point, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
but after I had done that, it was like 2 or 3 weeks later where Jim offered me my first job.
Well, yeah, because you showed that you could read and that you could critique, not just to be a screamy, yelly, angry internet person, but because like I was confused. Here's how maybe I would make it a little bit more
And I think what
clear.
you're saying right there is really important. Don't just say, "This sucks." Say, "Hey, I'm having a hard time understanding this. Here's what I think could make it better."
Yeah.
Right? Always offer something that could potentially make it better. You know what I mean?
Yep. For me, when I am doing a review of a game, I try to be really careful with people because these are things people put their hearts and souls on.
Yep.
Um, but if I do a critique, one of the coolest things that's happened to me over the years is when the creator comes back, he goes, "We were struggling over that exact same question."
Yeah.
Like that's something that we were wrestling with. And when they take it, it's like, yeah, we see that too. This is where we landed. We're not angry that you called it out because we were wrestling with this. And I think that's part of the cool thing about this industry is that you really do care about it. You're trying to express ways that things can be made more clear for a certain set of readers that people really
Right.
appreciate it.
And
I like that.
I'm the type of person too who, like, um who I need to constantly be pushing myself into new realms because I get complacent.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I get complacent, I get a little bit lazy. So, uh, you know, I for a while for Star Trek Adventures was writing like mechanics stuff and just like guidance stuff. I never did a lot of the narrative stuff.
Okay.
Um, but Jim Johnson, because he wants me to be the best writer I can be, said, "All right, well, guess what? Now you have to write some narrative stuff." And so, like, that made me fall in love with my job all over again because I was learning something new. I was trying to find the voices of these characters that I was putting into sidebars, and like, yeah, it's been a great experience.
That's awesome. That's all good advice. Thank you so much for sharing that
Yeah,
with folks. I know there's probably folks here who are going to watch later that are have toyed with that, and I think that's really a good way to help people out.
yeah,
So now
absolutely.
let's look at this Star Trek Adventures, which we've touched on. Now let's dive in face forward. So one of the interesting things that I found most interesting about Star Trek Adventures is on the credits page is how many writers are credited in this thing, which is why I listed you as writing team
Hmm.
on the thing on the thumbnail. So I always find that interesting when you have such a huge amount of writers, but when you read the book, you can see there's different voices going on, but it feels like one book. It's not like a dozen books. So how did the responsibilities get split up between the different writers on the project?
So this is a fun story. So first things first, we live by the team lives by infinite diversity and infinite combinations,
So
right?
we're Vulcans. Good.
We want
Gotcha.
all representation in this book, right?
Okay.
So we try our best to find all voices available in our books. Sometimes when we have shorter books, we can't get as many voices in there, right?
Hmm.
Because there's less pages to fill. So with the core rule book, I think Jim Johnson, had a very clear um, that he wanted to get like everyone that he could in there to have some voice somewhere,
Okay.
which is awesome. And I think so initially, when we first would get an outline for a book, a bunch of us, we would know there would be like 6 writers on there, and we would all jump into the outline and say, "Hey, I want this section in chapter 1, I want this section in chapter 2, I want this section in chapter 4." Well, what was happening was we might have had 500 words in chapter 1, 2,000 words in chapter 4, and our word counts were spread all over the place. And I think that that was becoming pretty stressful for Jim.
Okay.
Um, so
We
now
need some of the book actually written at some point, guys. Let's
so
go.
yeah, so now Jim gets a feel for who wants to write for the book, and says, "All right, well, if you are interested, here is the what I want you to write." And it's usually just like, "I want you to take chapter 3," or
Okay.
something like that. But yeah, Jim is always giving people chances at writing for the first time, which is great. But I do think specifically in that core rule book, we just wanted to get as many voices as we could possible from the entire history of Star Trek First Edition, right?
Right. Okay.
Because we brought back a bunch of writers who hadn't done stuff for a while, from like the Klingon book and whatnot, to at least just write, even if it's a sidebar for us, or 10 sidebars for us. We wanted to get all of that representation, in the core rule book for second edition.
Really, really cool. And I'm pretty sure everybody writing on the project is a very strong trekker.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, I think everybody really loves the IP. And
Okay.
when you love an IP like that, you take special care to make sure that what you are putting down on paper doesn't interfere with canon. It doesn't it doesn't come off too strongly,
Yeah.
and that you are loving everything about the IP.
Yeah. I want to talk about canon in a second. Just kind of as a humorous aside. I'm hoping it is anyway. So, were there sections of the book where the writer team got together and says, "There is no one else writing this section but me. Like
Um,
this is my dream. I'm writing this section."
So I think in the past, in first edition, we definitely got to those points, where, especially in the lower decks book, we all kind of flocked to specific things that we wanted to write about. Um, but now that Jim is taking care as managing, like specifically, what are you doing? Um, we don't get that opportunity anymore. And which is why I said that Jim is now pushing me to like, "Hey, I want you to do these 10 character sidebars." And I'm like,
Hmm.
"All right, well, I have never done this before, so this is a new challenge for me." Which at the time when I get the assignment, I'm like, "Ugh." And then like I'm like, "Oh wait, but I know Jim is pushing me to expand who I am as a writer." Which is spectacular. I
It's really
appreciate it
cool.
so much.
And so for folks who don't understand, like when you're talking about character sidebars in the Star Trek Adventures, which I'll get to in my review when I finally get to it, guys. How are these set up? Like, can you describe to people what these actually are?
So with second edition, we have our core our core pre-generated characters that are in the starter set. We have opening sidebars with where they talk about the chapter. Those are pretty easy because those are characters that we created, right? And we have a
Okay.
good feel for who they are. So, in some instances, we like when we have, a little window that we need to fill and we don't have an image that's big enough, we will
Mm-hmm.
put a text box there. And that text box could be a character telling a story about
Mm-hmm.
one of their adventures. It could be a detailed menu of what's in the mess hall. It could be any number of things. But the big one that I have always struggled with is telling a brief story in 100 words or less
Mm-hmm.
from a character's point of view. So um, like, hey, you have to do 10 sidebars uh, that is banter between, Odo and Quark.
Oh, that just sounds like joy.
So like for me, because I love the IP so much, I get really worried that I'm not going to nail the voices correctly, right?
Yes.
Because we all know, every one of us that love the IP know what the banter between Odo and Quark
I
sounds
mean,
like.
you got to get the right roll in the throat when
You know what I mean? Like,
Odo's talking to Quark. Yeah.
and like, but like I was afraid that I would not be able to capture those voices. So I experimented a little bit in the lower decks book with and the exploration guide, I think, with Mariner from Lower Decks, because I thought that like I love the way that she talks and how quick she is and how dismissive
Yeah.
she is. So I felt like that would be the first one that I could really kind of work on.
Yeah.
And so like that,
Mariner is Gen X
yeah,
in Star Trek.
yeah.
Yes, basically.
So that was where I started, and then I kind of grew from there, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And folks, if you have not opened Star Trek Adventures Second Edition yet, the book is really, really cool to read because those immersive elements and the quotes. And we were talking to Gamma. It took me about 3 chapters in. I was like, and I started realizing, like, holy crap, they just explained the mechanics of the game from an episode of Star Trek. And that, like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, they nailed this. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that was, like, little things that we learned through for first edition that, that people really enjoyed and
Yeah,
that we wanted to accentuate going into second edition. We thought it was useful to give them a real scenario. Um, and so, because again, we all love the IP, right? And like
sure.
probably 90% of the people that buy the game, I imagine, have watched Star Trek and love Star Trek, right?
Okay.
I don't know if that's an actual number. I'm just making that up, but that's kind of what we thought. And
It
and
feels true. It's
and that's why,
truthy.
for the
Right.
same reason, Wes, in that core rule book, I got to write the timeline of events, and I put in events that happen in Star Trek Online. I put in events that happen in the Star Trek comic book. Like, I interwove those into the timeline because I feel like that is very close to canon, right? Close enough to canon that I thought it was cool enough to splash in there. And once we
It's
released the
like
book,
alpha beta canon. We're good.
right, right,
That's good.
like,
Yeah.
people were super psyched because there are some diehard Star Trek Online players
Mm-hmm.
that love Star Trek Adventures. So to see those little events in the timeline, it like they were over the moon. So
I mean, there were people who were upset that the first season of Picard obliterated the comic books that they all insisted were canon
yeah,
for Data's return. But that goes back. I think Sean earlier up in the chat had asked, animated series, is it canon to you or not?
it is canon. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
it is canon because it was on television.
People seem to argue that for some reason. I don't know why. I mean,
So
but I don't want to live in a universe where Spock 2 is not canon. That's
so
just sorry.
uh, as far as our licensors are concerned for the game, it is all canon.
You can go anywhere.
Anything that is on television or on the big screen is canon.
Okay. Can you pull from the books for canon?
I mean, they would not consider it canon, but that doesn't mean that we haven't splashed in references in sidebars and things like that.
I'm going to make a request. There is a Peter David book from way back in the day, Next Generation era, where the Borg come back and the planet they realize that the planet killer from the original series was actually a prototype, and someone gets the second one is going after the Borg.
Yeah,
But the best part about it is that there is a Ferengi who gets assimilated, and suddenly the Borg want to make a deal.
that's awesome.
It's total Peter David. Like it
That's
was like, oh my gosh. And he
fantastic.
nailed Data ambushing people with questions and jokes in the turbo lift.
I love
So I love that. I have a request. If that did ever get in there, I would buy
it.
that book. Um, and I just totally revealed what a nerd I am. So that's great. So we had talked a little bit about canon. We just talked about it with the original series. But writing a game or any kind of product for something that has an established canon is a lot different process than making something up whole cloth. So there are constraints on this. But I think there's kind of something interesting about that. Was there anything about the constraints of being limited to the canon that actually felt empowering to you?
I mean, I don't know if I would say empowering. I would say enlightening, right?
Okay.
Because I do a lot more research now into specific events. I'm not a very detail oriented person when I'm watching television. If
Okay.
there's explosions and battles and things like that, I usually have a good time. But like there are like lines that I have completely missed in Next Generation that I've found through research that I could build upon,
Okay.
and things like that. Um, and we can still spin off our own story from the canon, right?
Okay.
Like for example, the Pac-led clump ships that we see in season 1 and 2 of Lower Decks.
Hmm.
Nobody explained why they built those ships, right? Um,
Okay.
but but our writing team came up with why they build those ships made out of bits and pieces from everyone else's ships. So we took the canon and we just expanded upon it.
Okay.
And I think we see that a lot. So like in most of our books, we take what's there and we try to dig a little deeper or think of other applications. And when we put that on the page, it then has to go off to Paramount.
So
Paramount
they
has
have to
to
okay it.
they have to okay it, right? So we can put whatever wild crap we want in there, and Paramount will say, "No, no, no," but for the most part, for over the last 5 years since I've been a part of the team,
Uh-huh.
we haven't had Paramount send much stuff back to us. They pretty much trust us with what we're putting in there. They're still looking at it,
Right.
but, like, yeah, we're doing pretty well, in that
Okay.
regard, so
So they're sending stuff probably if like they're planning on doing something with something. It's like you can't mess with that right now.
right, right.
Got it. So and I actually had to put a question here, but so you've gotten to the galactic barrier and actually have managed to get through at some points with this
Yes.
without turning into a, sociopathic superhuman.
Right.
Um, that's a deep cut for folks who've, um, really cool. I mean, I'd like the idea of being able to expand a little bit for the game, which is fun because that's what we're doing at the table anyway.
Right,
We're making our own canon.
and then some of us like, we go even deeper than that, so, like, I go back to the old Last Unicorn games and Decipher role-playing games,
Oh my
and I
gosh. Okay.
often find some of the canon that they created that they built upon, and I use that and expand on that as well.
Oh
So
wow.
so the people that have been playing Star Trek role playing games for a very long time can see that stuff and be like, "Hey, wait a minute. I remember this from when I was playing Last Unicorn games." And it's just like a little one sentence thing, you know what I mean? So,
And it's just like a little Easter egg in there for them. I
yeah.
think that's really cool.
Yep.
It would be fun if you could end up like West End Star Wars and have like them like the next time they bet a series like, well, we have to go consult the
Yeah.
TTRPG because they explained all this.
That would be awesome, but
That's the dream, man.
Well, we often
Um,
think like with our tech manual, right?
yeah,
We want that to be like the new modern day guide for people that want to look up Star Trek technology. Like you don't need to use it for the role playing game. You can look it up and see what the different technologies are, right? That could be we wanted it to be like a coffee table book for people that love Star Trek. There's also
nice.
role playing stuff in there, but that where our design process was like, we want this to be because we haven't gotten a book like that in 35, 40 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
mean, I had the Next Generation Technical
yeah,
Manual,
right.
and I may or may not have printed off the fan made one for the Defiant off of my college's Wi-Fi when I was in senior in college. So you were on the writing side. You had been on the mechanical side of things for Star Trek one E at some point. So how do you end up communicating with the mechanical writers when you're trying to write something for your side of the book?
So 2D20 was created by Nathan Dowdell, um, who works for Modifius. Okay. Now Nathan Dowdell is a busy guy. He's got lots of lines using the 2D20 system. Um, And with first edition, he was doing a lot of stuff. So I would add mechanics to like I created the mechanics for laying mines with a starship,
Okay, cool.
for that type of thing. And so like I was really proud of that. But at the time, Nathan wasn't readily available in writing for the line. He was doing other things for the company.
Gotcha.
So our goal when we went to second edition was to have Nathan, who is the creator of the 2D20 system,
Okay.
to write a chapter for every single book, which is all the mechanics.
So did he write the mechanics chapter then? Like that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Yeah. So far we've been able to do that. It's lined up pretty well with our timing. But like so he'll do um like any optional mechanics or he'll convert mechanics from first edition to second edition.
Okay.
He'll give new career paths, new talents, things like that. Um and so far he's done that for each book. So it's not something that we even need to worry about anymore because he's had it under control. Now, who knows going forward where that's going to go? I told Jim I write mechanics all day long because I understand the 2D20 system and I love how it works. And I think you can do a lot of stuff with it. But if we can have the person who created the system itself writing on the line, I'll take that all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you interact though? I mean, so are you if you're given a little bit to write with, is it usually the mechanics are already done that you're going to be referencing? Or
Yeah.
there are times where you're just kind of like, okay, I need the techno babble to go here.
So that would be yeah, so that would just be an email out to Nathan, or I directly message him from time to time. But for the most part, the stuff that the rest of us are writing is like the timelines, the events that happened, the GM like here's how to use this, or hey, here's a bunch of random tables. Like those are the type of things that we're looking at, play styles
Uh-huh.
and how to tell a serialized story versus an episodic story. Like that's the type of stuff that we're writing. So we don't really have to reference the mechanics that he's putting into his chapter. That said, we once the chapters start coming in, they're always made available to us so that we
Okay.
can go and reference them as well.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah. So
It's for me, it's fascinating because with the size of the team that's doing it, so oftentimes, especially the people like I interview on this channel, it's often solo creators. So it's
right.
neat to see the team process to go through with a bunch of people who are passionate about a shared IP
Yeah.
is really a cool thing to kind of delve into.
Yeah, I think so. I've said this, and maybe it's just because this is my first like professional gig, but I would not be able to be where I am as far as a writer goes without having other team members looking at my stuff saying, "Hey, have you thought about this? Hey, could we do this differently?" Like Michael Dismuke is like and Aaron Paulier, they are like my go-tos. Like whenever I have a question, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Does this make sense? And they'll say like, yes, it makes sense. Or hey, how can you make this a little bit more Star Trekky? Or how can you, like there's always someone there that you can bounce ideas off of.
Gotcha.
And that means a lot. Because there'll be times when like I've written solo games myself, like where I'm the only writer, and there'll be times when I hit a wall and I'm like, all right, I need to take a couple of weeks before I can figure out what the heck I'm going to do next. Whereas if I
Gotcha.
had somebody there next to me where I said, hey, I hit a wall on this, do you got any ideas? And they give me an idea, I could keep the workflow going,
Yeah, and it's not like you're asking just random people or even random friends. You're all involved in the project.
Right.
So this is all something you're invested in, so that the impetus to help is even greater than you would do just for a normal friend that you want to help out.
Right. And we have a line editor who takes all of our stuff and smooths it out and tries to make it sound like it's generally the same voice.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, you can tell by how many words are being used to explain something who actually wrote the sections. But Jim does a pretty good job of smoothing it out and make it all sound like one voice.
It's pretty good. It's really well done. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Okay, I do have one question that I didn't write down, but I just have to ask because I'm a snarky jerk who's a Gen Xer. So there's got to be at least one. Is there one old man yelling at clouds when they saw the Discovery Klingons and went, "They're not Klingons"?
So uh, n- from our player side, yes. From the from the writer side, uh,
From the professional, I'd like to keep my job side. No, they're perfect.
I
Um,
what we've had to do is rectify Klingons that look like that, Klingons that look like next gen, and Klingons that look like TOS.
yeah.
And how do we rectify that as one general story? And I think Aaron Paulier might have wrote a lot about that in the Discovery Guide, just talking about how there are many different families, right? Many different clans essentially,
Uh-huh.
or houses, I guess they're called. And so like each house might look differently because they were like Klingon Empire, right? Empire is a lot of planets. So
Mhm.
we don't know if the Klingons were had diverged into several different species. Like, like there's ways you can explain those things. So that's what we try to do. Um, we try to make it all fit together. I don't know that there's been any snarky comments about them in there that I can think of. Um, I wasn't part of the Discovery book, at least not the first one. So,
Okay.
um, I can't recall seeing a sidebar in there or anything about that.
Like, I literally have to catch myself. Like, I put the picture, stop it. It's a game, and they are Klingons, but
Yeah.
they're not my Klingons, and I'm old now, and I don't like that. Which is really where it goes down to. So, but and yeah, they explained that in working into the mechanics, like these are like Klingons you haven't ever seen before,
Hmm.
which
Right.
was fine.
Yeah.
Also, I just wish they would stop doing prequels, but that's just me. Um, in everything.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if we want them to stop doing sequels after the next show. Right.
I what is
starts
it?
next
What
starts next month.
is
Starfleet
it? What
Academy,
is that? Starfleet Academy? I'm just.
because
I
that's
don't
32nd
know.
century. There's a
I
couple things I'm looking
know.
forward to with it. Honestly, although the trailer made me a little nervous about a few things, but I think I think Starfleet Academy has always been like this kind of throwaway concept. Like it's just kind of been there in a lot of the Star Trek series so far.
Uh
So I
huh.
think if we can really look at like what are the core values, what is the class, what do the classes look like? Like what do you take each year? I would love to see something like that, like a curriculum guide.
That
Um,
would be interesting.
so like I think that's just something that we've never really seen before, and I think it would be really cool to have that material. So
I would kind of like that. Um, I am semi interested in 32nd century exploration because I'm hoping they do what I wanted Discovery to do, which is to talk, like, actually explore the rebirth of the Federation instead of just like glossing over it in between seasons. Like, because that was So, and I like Sean's on here. Discovery isn't Star Trek. Let them have their stupid Klingons. We'll get there. Okay, I will grant you this. Discovery season 1 was really, really, really good science fiction with the Star Trek skin painted over it.
I would argue that the last 3 episodes of Discovery season 4 were some of the best Star Trek ever written. The whole 10C thing, once they get out there, once
Was
they try to
great. It was
communicate.
pure science fiction.
Yep. Like, I would argue that was and how they wanted to like find that way to communicate, and yeah, it was I would argue that was some of the best Trek out there. Now, the whole uh, you know, dark matter device or whatever the heck it was called.
The
Um,
mining device, yeah, that
yeah, I
was a
could
little
have
weird.
like whatever, but the way they actually resolved meeting those clearly not humanoid aliens, I thought was very fascinating. And I think if anybody has like doesn't think those last 3 episodes are like Trek to the core, I would question what you think Trek to the core means, because they are
They were
spectacular.
really good. I thought, to me, the high point of the whole series was season 3 because that finally felt like Star Trek
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
exploring. That even though the burn was kind of a silly concept, but they
Yeah.
were exploring something.
That season 3 was the opposite, where the last 2 episodes were like, eh.
Yeah, that was it. Like,
But everything else was pretty cool.
why you could do a why? But then I had Burnham in the captain's outfit. Like, okay, cool, let's
Yeah.
go. And yeah, things kind of went up and down after that. But yeah, I would agree. The end of season 4 was pretty cool.
Yep.
Um, we have someone going. Did they ever explain the TOS Klingon TOS appearance? Ever explained in universe? Yes. Watch Enterprise.
Yep. Season 4 of
Farscape.
Enterprise.
Yeah, Farscape or Stargate.
Stargate.
I would go. Oh, that's a tough one. I'd go Stargate just because there's more of it. But man,
Yep.
Farscape is so good.
It is. It is.
With
I'm
the
not saying that Farscape's bad. I'm just saying that
yeah, there's more of
I
it.
think it's not as flushed out as the Stargate one.
No, it's not. Stargate's really built out. But man, when Talon gives up himself at the base, the wormhole base,
Mhm.
that's great science fiction. Trivia question for you. What character or what actor originally TOS played 3 of the major species, Vulcan, Romulan, and Klingon? I think I know this one.
I'll tell you, I don't know this one.
I think it's Mark Leonard. Because he played the Romulan commander, he played Sarek, and I think he was a Klingon at one point. So that would be fine.
Here's
And
something that'll get you to hate me,
Sean's
King.
complaining about us liking season 4 Discovery.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Something that you're gonna be disappointed in. TOS is my least favorite Star Trek series.
I don't think that's that hot a take.
I think it's boring. I've watched episodes to help me out with writing and whatnot, but to me, I think people are very nostalgic on it because it's what started everything, and um, for me, it's really hard to watch
Yeah.
and get through and deal with all the chauvinism and things like that. But I know it's an artifact of its time. But in general, I haven't really enjoyed a lot of it.
It's the one I think it's the one that shows its age more than anything.
Mhm.
Aside from cultural stereotypes, it just the pacing of shows back then were so different than what we're used to. Um, so yeah, I don't think that's hot of a take.
Yeah.
It's probably my least favorite of the live action ones.
I mean, I love the original series movies, like all of them. I think they're all great.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay, that's fine. TOS has no subtlety. TOS
That's
really
true.
does not have no subtlety.
That's a good comment, Jay.
Like I
We should
like
frame that one.
so like like my day job as a pastor. And when you have a horror going, they're worshiping the Son of God, I watch and go, that's a little bit heavy. Um, that was kind of funny. All right, so let's talk about this is Star Trek. Enough with Star Trek. We're talking all Star Trek. The chat's going to keep going in, and I got the trivia question right, so I'm happy with myself. But you've written your own TTRPG.
Several,
It's
actually. Yeah.
well, but the one that we're going to talk about is Sentience.
This one.
You have the book. Get it up here. As if the cover does not give it away, what is the elevator pitch for your game?
All right, elevator pitch for sentience. Here we go. Uh, Humanity sent a bunch of robots to terraform a planet. Those robots have gained sentience before humanity has returned to that planet. And now you play as those robots as you try to figure out how to build a society for yourself, or for the humans, or for both of you.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right. So when we're writing, like anytime someone is creative is writing something, we're scratching an itch. So what itch were you scratching when you came up with sentience? Like what was like, there's a mind bug, I have to get rid of it. What's going on?
So it was a weird happenstance thing. All right. When the OGL thing happened
Yeah.
a few years back, a lot of my friends who were still writing 5e content were worried that they were not going to have a job. Many of my friends, like I had several friends who quit their jobs just to write stuff for DM's Guild.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, and I was like, listen, you guys are really, really good D&D writers, but you're also great writers, right?
Yeah.
So what I did during the first couple weeks of that whole fiasco was I went every day onto my social media and I posted concepts for
Okay.
different role-playing games that you could go write. And this was like the third one I came up with. Your robots terraforming a planet who become self-aware before humanity returns.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we got a few comments, people like we were talking about it and whatnot. But you know, of what eventually happened was Modifius announced that they were doing this world builders program where you could use their 2d20 system to
Right.
tell a story. And so I think when I heard that I could use 2d20 to make a game, I went back to that thing that I tweeted out saying that I
Mm-hmm.
think that that concept really has legs.
Neat. Okay.
Um, and so I literally, like over the course of the next month, Modifius said that in the first 3 months, they were going to look at everyone who had created a world builders thing, and their favorite one was going to get $300 or $500 or something like that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to win this money. And so I put together Sentience, and it was basically a Word document with a couple of images that I threw in. Uh, and it looked like crap. It was disjointed, like, but
Right.
we sold a lot, and Modifius really liked the concept.
Okay.
Um, because unlike like Star Trek Adventures, instead of having our departments, you have emotions, and your emotions are what control your skills, essentially your core
Okay.
programming. So if you're moving around, right, that your core programming is to move in such a way, but you
Mm-hmm.
can use your emotions to control that. And so that's kind of the direction that I went.
Mm-hmm.
And Modifius loved it. They thought it was a great idea. So they dubbed they I won that award for the cash. I got an email about me in the game and whatnot. So fast forwarded about a year, I met a guy named Jay Sedelius, and he's like, "Hey, I think that sentience could be even bigger than what you've done." He's
Okay.
like, "Have you tried something like this?" And he did like a 3-page layout of what he thought it could look like,
Okay.
and I was like, "Holy crap! This is what I need to do next. This is what I need. This is where I need to go." I'm like, "Jay, do you want to do this? We can work together." Blah blah blah. And so we did. And that's the cover that you saw. It's the cover that Jay came up with. So it's yeah, and I knew that some of my favorite things that I dealt with in Star Trek Adventures were the ethical and moral dilemmas.
Right.
And I thought, how more of a moral or ethical dilemma could you have than, do I build a society for myself, or do I keep to my programming, which was to build for these other people that are coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now there are robots that are like, hey, if the humans show up, they're going to enslave us again, right? And there are other robots that think the humans are like gods, essentially, because they created them, you know?
Right.
So I think there's a lot of really cool stories that can be told in the game.
It's really cool. And the way you described the mechanic to me at Gamma was you can sacrifice
Your
some of your
values.
emotions
Yeah.
in order to succeed, but you lose the emotion. You can get
Right.
it back up to the point of actually losing sentience.
Yeah, so anybody who's aware of Star Trek Adventures, you do have values, and these value statements you are what you gain through your life path process when you're creating a character. Well, if you need your robot side to take over, you can cross one of those out and get rid of it, and then you get like these bonuses, which is
Yeah.
awesome. But if you ever don't have any values left, you just revert to being an AI, and that's how you die in the game. Is you
Yep.
are no longer a sentient being,
It's really a cool. It's the whole thing is a really cool concept.
Yeah,
We have to shout out to King Eric. Yes, City on the Edge of Forever.
good.
I
Yeah.
will say it is one of the top 5 Star Trek episodes.
Yeah, I would say it was good. That was
Yeah.
one that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah. Overall, the series is I like it because I want to watch the last 30 seconds of Spock and McCoy yelling at each other.
Uh-huh.
But overall, it's not my favorite of the live
Right.
action. Cool. Let's get back to sentience now, because we could argue over that. That would be a fun thing. Let's just argue with chat over Star Trek for an hour and a half.
So King mentioned that he is sentient similar to iRobot, the book, not the
Yeah.
film. So you're referring to Robot Dreams, I believe, is the name of the Asimov robot
Well, there's a
story.
book I Robot too.
Okay. Okay. Um, and so I would say here's the thing. In my game Sentience, I create the awakening. I tell GMs nobody knows what caused robots to awaken. Nobody's been able to make it happen again. Uh, and so I'm leaving that up to the GMs to decide, hey, do we want it to say that this is a latent thing that the humanity actually programmed in as an experiment? Like, or, was there, is it malicious code that accidentally awakened everyone? Right.
Yeah.
Like, I want that to be part of your storytelling. Um, so, uh, so I do think that iRobot was a big inspiration for me. Why the Wild Robot was a big inspiration for me. Murderbot
I was
Diaries,
about to ask, is Murderbot
yep,
in
were,
there?
were all inspirations for the game. Um, but really, the biggest inspiration was being able to use emotions as part of a role playing game because I think there are many games out there where you don't think about that type of stuff, right? There's a
No,
lot.
you're an arm with a sword.
Right, you're an arm with a sword, you're throwing a fireball, like, you know what I mean? Like, but like now, if you want to jump across a chasm, and I ask you, well, how do you feel about jumping across that chasm? It makes you, like, I think, reflect upon your character a lot more.
Okay, so for folks who have not, because I have not played this yet, explain to me, how do I feel about getting over the chasm? How do your values come into play mechanically in that
All right.
situation?
So there are 6 emotions: joy, pride, love, sadness, anger, fear. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have your 6 protocols. These are what humanity programmed you with. So these are kind of like your skills: analyzing, communicating, moving, observing, operating, and surviving. So if you want to jump over a gap, right, you're going to be making a moving task.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
So you're going to take the number there and you're going to combine it with whatever emotion you are feeling at that time. So are you a thrill seeker and you're using joy because this is fun? Are you showing off in front of a friend and using pride?
Uh-huh.
Uh, is your friend like falling on the other side of the gap and you want to try to save them because you love them? Right? Are you afraid to jump this gap? So you choose which one of those emotions your character is feeling at the time, right? And I ask you to explain it and why they feel that way. And then you combine those two numbers together, and that gives you the target number for your 2d20.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So that's how many successes you need in order to
It's the number you
succeed.
need to roll at or below in order to get a
Oh,
success
okay, to
on your
get
dice.
it. Okay, so it's literally the target number.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm 2d20 is so strange in that you have a
It,
target number, but you also have a target number.
yeah, it's very strange.
So
Very different.
it's different. I like it. It's very fun. And Merlin Mage Sean wants to know, is there a dwarf robot representing each of these? Now that's some serious snark right there. That
So
was
no,
really
but
good.
interestingly, one of the things that we love to do is, um, we say that you can make your robot look like whatever you want it to look like, right? Like, it doesn't have to be humanoid, right? It can be a
Yeah.
box with wheels on it. Like we were talking about, being an Amazon delivery bot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I find that is amazing. So, and I guess I'd asked you before we got live, where can people pick up Sentience right now if they want to get
So you
it?
can go to yellowhand.com. That's the group of people that I write with. And they have links to all of my stuff. But if you just type Sentience RPG in Drive Through RPG, you'll see everything pops up. Um, the big ones are the big two are the core rule book and then Chronicles of the Awakening, which has 9 adventures written in it. And
Oh,
I
neat.
have a bunch of those adventures were written by Star Trek Adventures alumni. So like Aaron Pollier wrote one, and Troy Mepians wrote one, and Michael Dismuke, and they've all written for Star Trek Adventures. So,
Awesome.
but I would also, if you type Sentience RPG into YouTube, you'll see a dozen like live plays that I've filmed,
Oh, neat.
and probably a bunch of reviews and interviews as well.
That's cool.
Yep.
How much does a core book cost?
Core book's $50. I think it might be actually like 45 on drive through,
Okay.
to get a print copy. If you buy, I want to say that the digital is only like 25 or $30 on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, and because this is you're building a world for someone else, what are some of the conflicts that you're hitting in the adventures? Is it
Um,
conflicts between factions of the
Yeah,
robots
so
or
different
what's going on?
robots have different beliefs, and I think trying to find common ground among those beliefs is a big deal. Like there are some robots that don't care about the humans coming; they care about their personal safety and personal well-being. So they might be trying to like better their stature within society, like have more stuff, have more control, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
um, you've got the religious zealots are in there. You've got there's a band of eco terrorists who think the robots are expanding too fast.
Okay.
They're doing. Hey, the humans wanted us to do this. We've done this, and now we're destroying our environment. Like, there's that type of story going on in there.
Oh, wow.
There's one of my favorites is called Companions, and it's about this robot scientist who has been studying the effect of humanity and pets, and so they're trying to create these robotic pets to put into robot society to see if they could have the same effect. So like things like that
Huh.
is where we're going. Like really cool stories like that.
That's really, really cool.
Yep.
I don't know why, but this some of these things, these themes that you're writing about seem so familiar.
Yeah. Right.
It's almost like science fiction was good at that.
Yes.
Um, Almost. Who would have thought?
And get this, and I think we might have talked about this at Gamma, but every adventure, and that is written starts off with a social scenario, a
Okay.
social scene. So, like, one of the episodes starts off at a book club. One of them starts off, and you're hiking. One of them starts off with you're going camping. Like, so you're doing these things that are like new to the robots, right? New social things,
Yeah.
and it allows you to kind of like, as a player, analyze these settings and these things that maybe we take for granted a little bit
Uh-huh.
through someone who isn't familiar with them. And it's been a lot of fun to see how people play those things.
I mean, in some respects, you're playing data, except you have
I mean,
emotions.
yeah, Data with the emotion chip part,
Yeah,
I guess, right?
I
Um,
like that.
because I think Data had, when he had his emotion chip in, he had better control over some emotions than others.
Yes,
And it's the same general concept here.
and he could turn it off.
Hmm.
So that's another cut. Good stuff. Um, no, really, really, it seems like such a cool setup. Um, I'm fascinated to check into. That's one that's on my list to pick up for a 2026 review. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm actually
Um,
running it this weekend in Boston. I had a store that bought some copies and sold out right down by MIT.
that's awesome.
So I'm running a demo on Saturday to see to for some of those people that bought copies of the book. So that'll be fun.
That'll be a lot of fun. Oh, that's so cool. I may try to tackle you to play a live stream of it if you'd ever
I'll
do
do
that
it.
with
Yeah,
me.
you let me know.
That would be fun. All right. We've been talking for a little while, and um so let's kind of close out with how folks can connect with you other than coming to my channel and seeing you talk on it. Where can folks find you online?
So GM underscore Admiral on all the socials. You'll find me there. I'm very active on the Modifius Discord. I'm very active on the Star Trek Adventures Facebook page. I have my own YouTube channel where I talk about card games and board games and role playing games. That's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm always ready to talk games. So that's what I tell anyone. Like if you find me alone for 10 minutes, like I will talk games with you that entire time. I'm a dad of 7-year-old twin boys. So oftentimes I need to be in the room while they're doing stuff so they don't kill each
Uh-huh.
other. Um, but like oftentimes, like I'll just have my phone or my laptop there and I'll just be interacting with the community because I love talking games and game theory, game design, and like just the whole process of writing in general.
I can affirm that for everybody. If you ever see Al out, because I'm thanks to Doug Shute, I was at the Gamma Expo because I am not a member of Gamma. He's like, "You're coming to this." I'm like, "Sure, Doug, I'll show up." And he made sure we connected, and I think we must have talked for like an hour and a half.
Did you notice, by the way, when we sat down together around that table, everyone else left and just let us do our thing?
It was weird. It was three of us who were there. We're just like everybody's like, all the vast Crim people left. I don't know what's going on. Oh, we got somebody. Jeff Whitty Art is here from North Korea. Hey, Jeff, I saw your comment today. Thank you for sharing.
Hi, Jeff.
Um, oh my gosh. Okay, King Eric the Greatest. I have a couple of comments. What's your favorite go-to board game? Is it Hero Quest?
It's not Hero Quest, although I do have an original copy with all the expansions.
Well, Eric
Um,
has now got two people that knows Hero Quest. Good, good.
that I'm hoping that it's going to be a game that I'm gonna introduce my kids to very soon here. I really like Cthulhu Wars. It's a big it's like a big battle. It's like Risk but with Cthulhu characters. Very, very well done.
Okay.
So that's probably that. It's not a go-to because it's a long game, but
Yeah.
it's one of my favorites. Um, and then I like little party games with that I can bring my wife in on and friends. So we like the code names games and let's see code names and they just brought a new one in where it's like you look at colors and you have to define a color with one word, and then all the other people have to guess what color you're talking about. And it's like,
Really?
I found that my vision sucks. I've learned because what they say as like is flamingo pink is not what I think of as flamingo pink. But that one's really fun as well. And I, games like Dixit, like Mysterium,
Okay.
where you need to use words to describe things, I really enjoy.
I like poetry for Neanderthals
I we have that game. We haven't had a chance to play it yet.
because I get to whack my 24-year-old daughter over the head with an
Do
inflatable
I was
club.
gonna say, do
It's a
you
good time.
inflate a club, right?
You inflate a club, and if you use anything over one syllable, you go no, and it's
That's so
literally
good.
called the no stick. You just know them.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is for all the adolescent angst. There you go. Have fun.
fantastic.
No, I'm not a nice person. Um, but she would do that to me too. All right, so we digressed. I know you were at PAX Unplugged this year. We met there. What conversations, what conventions are you planning on going to in
So I'm gonna be at
2026?
Page in January.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running a couple of sessions of Sentience and a couple of sessions of Star Trek Adventures. So that's the Philly Area Gaming Expo. Um,
Everybody go.
I'll
It's
be there
awesome.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday I've taken off because my family is coming too, and I think I might go with them into the city on Sunday.
Nice.
We'll see. We're still trying to plan that all out.
Okay.
Um, I'm assuming I'll be at PAX East and PAX Unplugged again. Um, I'm trying to get booths to sell my stuff at more cons this year. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do that, but the big one that as it relates to this here stream is um, oh gosh, Shore Leave. Shore Leave is a big Star Trek convention
Ooh.
over in Lancaster, and it you get like all the actors show up and all the writers show up, and
Where is it?
it's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay. Wait.
Yep. Um,
You said it the way that makes people from Lancaster go.
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay, that's fine. It's fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Um, but I'm so not only am I setting up a table there to sell Star Trek Adventures, Sentience, and Redacted stuff, um, but we're also planning. I believe that a majority of the Star Trek Adventures writing team is going to be there.
No way. When
Yeah.
is that?
July. Let me check my calendar real quick. It's definitely July. Uh, July 10th, 11th, 12th.
Oh man, I'll be right back from Disney. I would
Yep.
love to do that. That would be fun. Okay, that's awesome. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm gonna be uh selling Star Trek Adventure stuff and selling like I said, more sentience and then redacted as well. So
That's
I'm
going to be
excited.
awesome.
Yep.
That'll be so cool. All right, last question. Well, I have a couple more questions, but this is the last one. Are there any projects right now that you're working on that folks should know about that you're not allowed to talk about?
Yes.
What are they?
So let me I can tell you some about some of my personal projects. I can't
There
tell
you
you about
go.
other stuff that I'm on. Let me think about this now. So I'm helping. So I had a bunch of people help me with the Sentience Kickstarter this summer. So I'm helping them round out a few games. We are currently doing like a cyberpunk game, which I'm excited about, called Simulacrum, and I'm hoping that'll be out before the end of the year. Not
Okay.
guaranteed. And then Redacted is my 50s B movie role playing game that I wrote with Aaron Pollier. That just came out 2 weeks ago. So we have two expansions on that I've been working on. And then I am working on a Morkborg hack game for hopefully the summer of next year.
Nice.
And it's going to be compatible with Morkborg, Raptor Ruckus, and Castaway.
Sweet. So you're going to
So
be quite busy.
yeah, in fact, it might have to do with what you see the Mothman here on my shirt. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, I'm currently working on a couple of projects that involve cryptids. So um,
nice. Is that a
yeah,
glow in the dark?
it's not. No,
It kind of looks like a glow in the dark. Okay.
no.
Jason was saying TotalCon. TotalCon.
Uh, if they will ever respond to me about having a table, Jason, I've sent multiple emails and messages on Facebook and have heard nothing. So,
Rutro. Rutro Raggy.
so
There we go. All
if
right.
anybody's out there from
From
TotalCon,
TotalCon,
get back to me. I want to sell my stuff at your show,
you want Al. He's a good
and I
guy.
want to run games at your show.
Even better. King Eric wants to know if your Mark Morkborg is going to be called Mork and Mindy.
No, it will not be more committee. It's going to be called Cryptid Chaos.
Nanu. Awesome. Well, listen, I'd said about an hour and a half. We've been about an hour and a half. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been fantastic. I could chat with you for hours upon Star Trek and other major things. When you watch Babylon 5, because I'm just assuming you're going to do this,
Okay.
I will be happy to unpack. I will warn you,
Let
the
me
first season is painful.
now. Somebody said don't watch the movie first. Is that true?
Don't.
Okay. That
The Gathering is the pilot,
okay.
and it's okay, but things are really in flux, and there's a
Yep.
lot of change in design.
Okay.
And you get everything that's in the pilot. You get in the first couple of episodes. You can there's probably only 6 episodes you need to watch from the first season. From the
Don't
first
tell me
season,
that because I'll skip a bunch.
oh, and literally you can go back later because some of them are fun and they're still finding their footing. They hit season 2, but season 3 and 4
Oh,
is,
like
yeah,
Star Trek Enterprise.
like Star Trek Enterprise. But I'm telling you, Severed Dreams is, I'll go and watch that episode just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
That's awesome.
And Passage Through Gethsemane is another one that I'll watch over and over and over and over and over and over. Absolutely fantastic series. So yeah, when you do that, I'll be happy to unpack it with you. That'll be
Yeah.
fun. But listen, we're gonna close it off. Thank you everybody for being here. Yes, it is on Tubi. And let me say goodbye to folks by myself for a second, and then I'm
Yep.
going to send us out. But stay on the line so I can just thank you properly for coming on.
Can
I
do.
really appreciated it. Thank you everybody for the comments. Thank you for the folks from Modifius and the Star Trek team who were here in chat. It was great to have you on. Please stay in touch, and I'll be right back with you out in a second. That was awesome. I don't know what to say. I mean, is incredible. I think Star Trek Adventures. I can't wait to actually write my review for this. It is a really fantastic game. I can't wait to kind of get into the nuances of how they literally made Star Trek into a role playing game. It was really really cool, and I am really looking forward to chatting with Al some more in the future. Folks, if you are keeping up with the channel, I still got some pack stuff that I got to get up on. I have my interview with folks at the Chaosium booth and a couple other videos that I want to do. Random Thoughts, as always. Star Trek Adventures is coming up very, very soon. That's the next review on the channel. Then I'll get to Daggerheart, and I think after that, I'll be looking at either Stormlight or Old Gods of Appalachia. We'll see. There's a lot to do, which should be fun. As always, I am looking forward to bringing all of this to you. And until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.